What's up, YouTube? How you doing, gentlemen? Strange talking to a black box phone, pretending you're talking to someone. So, I want to talk about the realities of living in Asia. I'm in South Korea at the moment. I'm in Incheon, just outside of Seoul. So, yeah, I basically live in one of the most metropolitan, heavy dense, people dense areas in the entire world. So, what do I want to talk about? Well, it's fucking cold here now. It's way below freezing. It does get cold in this area. I want to talk about the ease of living here in Korea, for instance, and in Asia. In many places, Southeast Asia is much more easy to live in, more so than any place I've ever been in my life. I mean, you can have your own hotel, your own guest house for $10 a day, $20 a day. You can have something relatively fancy. Yeah, it's all relative, but yeah, the realities of living in Asia, the price points are very, very different. The way that people live here in Korea, for instance, everybody drives a medium line to top of the line car. Basically, everybody always wants to have new things. I'm in an older car here. This car had like not even like 45,000 miles when I bought it, but people wouldn't even look at this car. This is a 2003 model I got for like $1,200 because I don't really care about having a nice car, especially not in a country I intend on living for very long. But I have a daughter here, and I've got a wife as well. It can be troublesome at times, no doubt. And you guys may see me talking about more of that in this channel. But just the reality of dating and marrying Asian women or Korean women in particular. But what I want to talk about, just now, I know I'm rambling a bit, trying to get used to talking in the camera. But the price points, for instance, okay? So when you go out to eat, price points are relatively the same. They have healthier versions of fast food. They also have American fast food, for instance. But, you go out to eat, price points are relatively the same to go out and eat. However, you don't tip ever. And no such thing as tipping here. And I'd say maybe, relatively the same. However, you can get things a little cheaper. Starbucks is about double the price for a coffee at Starbucks here. So it's about $4 for a cup of coffee here at a Starbucks. But anyway, what I really want to talk about is the overall cost, which, the biggest expense people have generally is their housing. I'm staying in a small one-bedroom apartment. We're the first people to live in it since it's been refurbished. It's a very nice area, considering the fact that it's incredibly safe. You would never have to worry about someone stealing your things or opening up your car, for instance. And that has to do with the fact that this is a homogenous society. So everyone who's here is Korean. I'm less than 1% of the foreign population here. There's probably less than 1% of folks here in Korea are foreigners. Everyone's by blood Korean. So they basically see each other as brothers and sisters, etc. They feel they can trust each other more so, and they uphold that. That would be shameful for them to be robbing and stealing or whatnot. So it's safer, way safer than living in the West per se, especially the U.S. However, our apartment, even though it's brand new, like newly refurbished, it's a small place, but it's $500 a month. If it was in any given city in the States, it would be considerably more. If it was in any decent place, it would be at least $750, $850, $900 a month. It would probably probably be, it's $1,000 a month apartment. You know, that's what I would see it as, or more. So yeah, rent is about half the price here in Korea. Now in Southeast Asia, you can travel around very easily and have your own room. Like I said, I've had my own room with, you know, free Wi-Fi, restaurant downstairs, nice little balcony in the center of the town of Chiang Mai, for instance, where I've paid $3.33 a day for my room with a fan in the room, no AC, simple bathroom, clean place, not nice or fancy, not like a super comfortable bed, but nice. I mean, decent enough. But a very nice location, you know. So I was renting out my apartment for $100 a month, right? And I was happy. I was meeting amazing people from all around the world, all types of Asian women and all types of cool guys from all around the world. It was great. It's a great life. My meals in Thailand, for instance, in Chiang Mai, I mean, I'd eat for $1, $1.60, $2, $3 at most, you know. But generally, if I wanted to eat for a meal for $1, I could very well. I could basically eat on about $5 a day, including getting some fruit and whatnot. So yeah, you can have a quality of life where, for instance, you don't ever have to clean. When I live in Bali, for instance, say I stay at a hotel or a guest house. I come back, my bed's always made. It's always swept up and clean. I don't even have to think about it. Breakfast is cooked for me. I don't have to wash dishes. I don't have to clean clothes. Just bring my clothes to a local cleaner. I pick them up the next day. Usually $1 to clean all my clothes, maybe $2. And transportation, ridiculously cheap. Now here in Korea, they've got great public transport. Every country's different. Every country, I could talk to you gentlemen individually about every country. I've lived all over Asia. I've really spent probably 8 of the last 12 years in Asia. I've spent very little time in China. I did live in Hong Kong for 3 months, and I've spent no time in the Philippines. Aside from that, I've spent a lot of time in a lot of places, everywhere else. So what shall the purpose of this channel be, gentlemen? I do have a lot of knowledge. I do know Asian women probably better than any man on the planet, even Asian men themselves. I do know Asia from a foreigner's perspective just as well as anyone I know, even gentlemen who've spent 20, 30 years here. I have a relative understanding just as they do. I'm here to serve my fellow man. I haven't concretely figured out what I want this channel to be about. It's partly why I'm talking into the camera now. But I reckon, it'd be about, I'll tell you this. When I'm in conversation, I notice when I'm in conversation with folks in the U.S., for instance, anytime I do happen to go back, I always find myself wanting to talk about the realities of living in Asia and just how it's so nice and easy and the quality of life so good. And it's really hard for me to sell myself on the States. And I've thought about going back to the States, really getting heavy into real estate investment and making some really heavy money. I've thought about it, but it doesn't have a strong appeal to me. The overall environment doesn't have that strong of an appeal. And from what I understand, it's not getting any more peaceful. It's not a society overall that's progressing and, beautifying itself, becoming, more, it's not flourishing. It's not becoming more idealistic. It's going downhill. It's not going uphill, but I suppose it can be easier to go downhill than uphill. I myself find my tribe in Bali. I find a lot of folks that totally understand me right off the bat. Now, if I'm in the States, I can understand people's perspective, their frustration, and the depths of their realities. I feel that I can relate to them. I can understand them. However, I do not feel that they are able to really understand me at a deep level. And that's because of my experience living around the world, traveling around the world, minimalism, hitchhiking. I gauge the world very differently than most people. And I feel that I have a handle on what makes people truly happy. I feel like that's an internal journey, so to speak. It's not a exterior things are all very, very temporary. And the more we have, the more complicated our life becomes, it seems. Even now, being here in Korea, I've got more and more things, more and more articles of clothing. Like every article of clothing, it just takes up space in your mind. Less is more, in so many instances. So I'd encourage all you gentlemen to be disciplined in your workouts, be disciplined in your minimalism, and be orderly in your life. And be fucking courageous. Those who are not who hold themselves back and don't allow themselves to be courageous, they stand no chance at tasting the depths of beauty that life has to offer. They don't stand a chance. If you just stay in your comfort zone, or you just stay in your safe zone, life won't show you its magic. That's been my experience. Yes, magic. Divine magic indeed. I have witnessed a lot of it. There's a sincerity, a genuineness with oneself, that if you truly have that, life will open up to you in ways that you didn't know were possible. And the synchronicities will show themselves to you. And it's as if God is winking at you. Thought someone was about to put a ticket on my car. I'm going to start driving, gentlemen, because I do not know the specific time. And I have gotten a ticket for parking in this general area. And I think after 2 o'clock, they do start to, they've got cameras here in the street. So, interesting thing here in Korea. Police do drive around very slowly with their lights on, never sirens. And they police the general public here. The driving is all done through cameras, electronic system. So the speeding and the parking and the red lights and the bus lanes, etc., all of it's done through cameras. So here you'll never, ever, ever see a cop with a radar gun. And you'll never see cops going around and harassing people. And you'll never see cops pulling cars over. I've seen it once or twice since I've been here in Korea. And that's, like a total of a year being in Korea probably. You never see that. So you don't have you've got a police state, but it's done through cameras. And they're not really overbearing with it, like I guess they could be. I mean, it could be annoying. I have gotten my share parking tickets, which does suck. But they're a lot more affordable than they would be in Santa Monica or any other place, you know, San Francisco or anywhere else, you know, within the U.S. Yeah, the realities of living in Asia. Well, comment below, gentlemen. What would you like to know about? What would you specifically like for me to make a video on? Because, you know, I should be posting this on YouTube. I make videos. I just never get around to posting them. I realize now I've not done this recording in a while, and just doing this recording here with all you, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to get on camera and talk to myself. It is. So, the realities of living in Asia. What would you specifically like to know about, gentlemen? Alright, I got a red light here, that's good. Give me a second to, I had some police behind me, see. Me as an American, that is where I'm from. I don't generally call myself American or think of myself as an American. I am the world citizen. A world citizen, as you are. We all are, really. But, yeah, even if I have a police behind me or something, it's always a little strange to me. Like, yeah, just, that's how I grew up. You know, cops do harass people in America, and it's happened enough to me and my family. So it's not just a racial thing towards, you know, minorities, so-called minorities or whatnot. They harass